was about to say we should be live, but yeah, due to other IRL things, I had to quickly change my schedule instead of actually streaming today. Anyway, today we will be reacting to Inside the Creepy Lifestyle of Japanese prisons, because why not? And it's totally not because I had to think of something really last second. Totally not because of that. Also, real quick before I actually press play, for the next Monster Girl Encyclopedia video, I actually want to see if I can get something to work, because I have to convert one file into another and see if it works. If not, then you'll just see everything will just be normal, but other than that, that video is going to be delayed a bit. Anyway, let's press play and see what's going to happen, shall we?
When you think of prison, you're probably thinking about some pretty harsh and borderline inhumane living conditions.
Well, actually, I would constantly be thinking of not dropping the soap. I have to make some jokes here in this video, because, hey, it's about a prison. Anyway.
Obviously, these conditions would vary from country to country.
True.
Prisons in Japan, though, are like no other prisons in the world. Japanese prisons...
Fun fact, actually. If you want to go to jail in Sweden, because you would be living like I think, if I recall correctly, it was Sweden, but you would be living in a five-star hotel almost.
Prisons follow very strict schedules. Talking is allowed, but only during exercise and free time. Oh, and inmates are only allowed to speak Japanese. Most inmates are put in community cells, which can hold anywhere between 6 to 12 inmates. The rooms are Japanese style, which means inmates sleep on Japanese futons, and the flooring is tatami. Sometimes, foreign inmates are placed separately in Western-style rooms with beds, or Japanese-style solitary cells. The general
Great, you did nothing. You're just foreigner, and you're being put in a.
Consequences will be.
You're just put in a solitary confinement cell.
Prisoners will
Great.
6:45 a.m. sharp and have breakfast for an hour. Then
hang on.
Comes
so essentially, you're a foreigner. You're going to jail in Japan. Wait a second. You're a foreigner? All right. To the solitary confinement with you.
Work. For these prisoners, work basically takes up their entire day, spanning from 8 a.m. until 4:40 p.m., with just a few short breaks in between. Next comes dinner at 5 p.m. with 2 hours of free time. Finally, lights are out at 9 p.m. sharp, and the cycle continues.
Dang.
Prison work includes woodworking, printing, cooking, and cleaning, as well as vocational training aimed at obtaining qualifications that can be used after being released from prison. Inmates are paid for this work, and this money can be collected.
Making avatars or animations is something they have to do.
Are allowed to watch television, read books, and quietly chat with one another. However, these must all be done in Japanese. These rules can become problems for foreign prisoners, especially if they aren't fluent in the native language. Fuchu Prison is the location where the majority of foreign offenders will find themselves doing time in Japan. It's known for being notoriously strict.
Fuck.
For foreigners, it also houses various members of the Yakuza. The well-known gangster Shinobu Tsukatsu Kumicho did a 5-year sentence at Fuchu Prison, which ended in 2011 for violations of the swords and firearms law.
Real quick though, his name is sounds like sorry, but I don't know who he is and everything, but that's a bitching good sounding name, honestly.
Shinobu also enjoyed a 13-year sentence in the 1970s for murdering a fellow gang member with a samurai sword. There's a little fun fact for you. In December 2015,
I mean, it's the Yakuza.
Prison was the largest prison in Japan, holding about 2,086 prisoners. The cells of prison are divided into 4 categories: normal prisoners, foreign prisoners, mentally ill prisoners, and physically disabled prisoners. Male foreign prisoners in Japan are usually housed at Fuchu Prison. Foreigners are incarcerated for various crimes, but all in single cells in 2 or 3 blocks. Although Japanese prisons in general are notoriously strict, to the point of garnering condemnation from multiple human rights groups, it seems like Fuchu Prison has gotten a lot of flack in specific. On the other hand, Tochigi is a regular women's prison that's also designated to hold foreigners. It's located in a rural area north of Tokyo, and is organized along the same lines as Fuchu Prison, though the overall regime is definitely less harsh here.
No shit.
The procedures described for Fuchu Prison are applicable to Tochigi Prison as well, with a few small differences. The English language holdings at the prison library are much smaller than at Fuchu Prison. The U.S. Embassy, however, is currently contributing books to increase the holdings. And instead of training auto mechanics or carpenters, Tochigi Prison offers training for beauticians, Japanese typists, and seamstresses.
Oh
Although
no.
it may seem like the conditions here are less
So
harsh,
tough.
many foreign prisoners have claimed otherwise.
Oh, I bet.
Joanne Mariner, an American prison specialist for Human Rights Watch, said, "It smacks of totalitarianism. There's an obsession with rules, and with absolute strict obedience to rules. When they believe rules have not been followed, then there's arbitrary punishment." Yuichi Kaido, who was a lawyer for an American foreign prisoner referred to as Mr. Mara, had described the conditions by saying that in one point in history, American prisoners were seen as being slaves of the state, and that those words would describe the current situation of Japanese prisons pretty accurately. It should also be noted that in a lot of cases regarding foreign inmates, Japanese prisons try to save face and make themselves look better than they actually are to appease international standards. So information coming directly from them should be taken with a grain of salt. So,
You say with a grain of salt, but I would say with a fistful of salt.
how does someone get here in the first place?
Break
Well,
the
of course, there's
law.
a trial in Japan, which
Just
could take
spitballing here,
months
just
or
break the
even
law, I
years,
guess.
depending on the details of the case. They would first spend time in Kesatsusho, or the police jail. During this phase, the prosecutor and the police will collect evidence regarding the case.
Oh no.
If it's something relatively simple, like an assault, they would still be confined for 1 to 5 months here. To add to that, the conditions here are generally very harsh. Once a prisoner is moved to a regional detention facility, the conditions usually are a bit more comfortable. However, rules here are still to be strictly maintained, with a tight adherence being observed during meal times.
Also difference in
Food
culture
is to
and
be taken to
whatnot.
the room, in which the portions are highly controlled and have to be eaten very quickly. For the daily head count, all rooms are to be spotless and clean. Members of the cell have to be sitting in a seiza position in the front of the cell door and shout their prisoner number in Japanese.
Yeah, that was an ad. And AKA, I'm about to murder a son of a bitch with that shit and how annoying it's getting.
Up next, cells and living conditions. Most Japanese inmates are placed in community cells. These
Alright.
conditions are similar to those found at the regular county jail, but are stricter.
No
For
kid.
the Japanese, who tend to grow up in a
Oh,
system
Mount
of
Fuji.
rules and face heavy pressure to adhere to these things, it's still a difficult position to be in.
Fun fact, they actually have to be, some of them are so strict and everything towards the rules, there's literally a forest where you can sadly find a lot of dead people. And it's also, unlike a certain American idiot, Logan Paul. Yeah, no, it's been like a while, but that you're not supposed, if you have a camera, that you don't film the person in question in that case, and you, if I remember correctly, you're also given like a transponder or something to mark, hey, here is someone's body and everything. But anyway,
And for foreigners who don't have the cultural background and lifestyle training, it's even worse. Foreign prisoners are often, but not always, put in different accommodations.
No kidding.
Although some have said that foreigners are provided with beds, sometimes they're actually put in small, solitary cells for the time of their sentence. Now, to the uninitiated, this might seem like a good thing.
Not
In
really.
reality, it isn't. The isolation of being totally alone with no one to talk to for months and months can be devastating. Some inmates in these solitary cells not only sleep and eat in them, but are also made to carry out their assigned labor in them. They're let out of the cells only to exercise, during which time communication with other inmates is still forbidden. Again, we want to mention that when looking at reports or images of living conditions, they're usually handled by the Japanese authorities, who, after inspection, will allow them to be distributed. These usually won't be a reflection of the realities of the real prison experience, which, according to many former prisoners, is quite filthy and cold. Rules absolutely define one's existence in Japanese prisons down to the minute. If you follow them exactly, you can sometimes accumulate certain privileges. But if you diverge even slightly from the long list of rules, you
You're
will
a
be
dead man.
harshly punished, even in a draconian fashion. Some of these rules include when and how to place each item inside the cell.
So, in other words, I could potentially have a chance of losing my testicles there. Great. I still prefer not to drop the soap. But I guess that's something I have to do in an American prison. Or that's something that I shouldn't do in an American prison then. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of a weird one, but meh. Anyway, hope you enjoyed again, and I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I'll be making. So yeah, bye.